So I've already made a video discussing my unpopular opinions about Animal Crossing New Horizons, but now it's time to make one about yours. Hey y'all, I'm the Geek Apprentice, and about a week ago I posted on Instagram, my YouTube community tab, and my Discord asking what y'all's unpopular opinions were, and I had to make a second round of posts because the first time most people didn't give unpopular opinions, they gave complaints. Like complaints everyone has, that everyone agrees with. And I'm like, I'm not sure y'all understood the question, so I made a round 2, and now I'm going to be reading off those unpopular opinions and discussing them. I gotta say, New Horizons seems to be kind of polarizing on some level because there are things, and this isn't just New Horizons, but also Animal Crossing in general, that it seems most people love, but then again, I read the other side of it and it seems like a lot of people hate it too, and it's... let's just get going. I also want to point out that there were some repeats, so it's very possible I had to pick just one out of like 5 of the same unpopular opinion, so just keep that in mind. Let's start with Instagram. Starting off big, AJ for sure says, not to sound like a boomer, but I'm not a big fan of the whole modern aspect of this game, and I'm going to be posting the comment right here, and you can just see it on Instagram. So he's talking about the fact that like we have a phone and it doesn't make sense because we're on an abandoned island. The reason I would say this is unpopular is because it doesn't matter. You know, it's Animal Crossing. Anthropomorphic animals, but also non-anthropomorphic animals. You know, you can have a hamster on your island, but you can also have a hamster in a cage that's more like a pet. So it doesn't really matter. I think it was really the only logical way to move the game forward without breaking it, so I understand the opinion, but definitely unpopular. Denny says, while I'm against most of Nintendo's illogical decisions, like lack of cloud saves and one per island switch, I like that they locked holidays behind updates. I agree. If you're new to the Animal Crossing franchise, then you don't know that in the past you could just skip to December 25th and experience Toy Day, which is Animal Crossing's Christmas. And you could do that as many times as you wanted and just keep going for years and years and years. That's where people tend to hate the time traveling, which is not the time traveling I do. But anyway, however, with New Horizons, they are in fact locked. Now you can't just skip to next Christmas and assume that you're gonna have Toy Day because they're adding updates as we go. And like Denny says, and I agree, this is very good because look how Bunny Day turned out. Most people hated Bunny Day and were sick of the eggs and everything like that. That means next Easter, Nintendo can do something different. They can change it up. They can take into account what fans were saying they didn't like and make a different Bunny Day, a different update, and renew it every year. So while it may be an unpopular opinion for those who do excessive time traveling, I think it was a good idea on Nintendo's part because they can continue improving. Without pointing out a specific one, I would say there are a lot of people saying things about how long it takes for everything to happen. And to that I say, that's what Animal Crossing is. You're supposed to slow down and take your time. So there's a lot of comments about terraforming takes too long, making items makes too long, and I'm sure there are small quality of life things they could do, but that's kind of the point of Animal Crossing, is to make you slow down. You're not supposed to rush through it. 43i says, Renee is the best villager, but you spelled her name wrong. Unless you're thinking of a different Renee. I'm thinking of the horse Renee, which is on my island, and it's spelled like Renee, you know? Definitely an unpopular opinion, I find her annoying. Because Chris says players shouldn't be able to recruit villagers from other players' islands. Now, what he's talking about is the fact that some people, like let's say you have a really popular character like Fauna, and Fauna on your island decides she wants to leave and you don't really mind that she leaves. You can go on some sort of site, I don't know, like maybe Reddit or something, I don't understand Reddit, but you can say, hey, I've got Fauna, does anyone want to come to my island and take her? Because anyone can come to your island, to a character where there's an islander moving, and say, oh, why don't you come to my island, and they'll come to yours. But people sell them off. A lot of people hate this, and because Chris is one of them, right? I understand the hate towards it, and I do think it's kind of dumb, but also this is another one of those, who cares? Animal Crossing is what you make it. It's not wrong necessarily, but it might be wrong for you. He also brings up the fact that he likes that you can find a character after so long a period of time and be super satisfied, to which I have to ask back, so do you think amiibo cards are wrong? Because I definitely got a few amiibo cards because I knew I wanted Goldie. I knew I wanted some sort of sheep on my island and I picked Willow. Again, pointing out the fact that for you, it might be super satisfying to finally get that islander you wanted. For other people, it's just, they would rather not. They wouldn't mind paying the 100,000 bells to get Fauna. They don't mind buying the amiibo. Now, I paid for cheap amiibo, but still, it's what you make it. Alan says the name sucks. We already had New Leaf, now we have New Horizons. I thought about this too. Why do they keep adding new? And then I realized it's not the word, it's the phrasing. That's where the misunderstanding comes in. See, when I don't have a script, I keep having to repeat things and I keep messing up, so that's why these videos always end up being weird. So you have to understand it in that context. It's not that they're just adding the word new in front of everything. It's turning over a new leaf. You're the mayor. That's turning over a new leaf. This one is setting off for New Horizons. It's the phrasing, and just seems to be annoying that they both end up using the word new, but it's about the phrasing, not the word itself. Gus says, fan favorites such as Marina and Zucker are overhyped and aren't that cute. I agree. The octopus villagers are ugly and I can't stand them. He also says that he believes double waterfall pathways are uninspired and unnatural. Now, I did have to ask him for a picture because I wasn't quite sure what he was meaning by this, and I'll put the picture on the screen. I kind of agree. It's cool looking, but I don't know. I don't get the hype of it either, personally. Now, let's switch over to the YouTube community tab. Daniel says it's not as relaxing as other Animal Crossing games. Now, this is something that a few people said. It's not as relaxing. I feel like I'm having to rush. And I thought so too. But here's the thing. Frankly, that's our own fault. Like, I'm serious. If you feel like the game's not relaxing, it's your own fault. A lot of us ended up having a ton of time to play this game because we were forced to stay at home and it came out right as that was happening. So we could spend, like 7 hours a day playing the game and trying to make the pathways, trying to earn terraforming in the first place and trying to get our island look exactly how we want, that we ended up making it too big of a deal and not taking our time. The game is still relaxing if you let it, if you are willing to wait, if you are willing to take your time. So I understood this opinion because I did feel the same way at first until I realized, honestly, if you're rushing through it, it's your own fault. It really is our own fault. So just throwing that out there. I'm not sure which opinion is more unpopular, the fact that you think it's not relaxing or the fact that I think it is, and that if it's not, it's our own fault. Okay, here's one that I'm going to read both sides because I definitely got some from both angles. Leslie says, unpopular opinion. Time traveling is not a sin, especially if you are an essential worker who barely has time to play. I agree. Do I think it's dumb to do a crazy amount of time traveling? Absolutely, but guess what? That's how I like to play the game. If I want to skip ahead just so my house ends up bigger and then immediately go back to my normal time, who cares? What does it matter to you? There isn't really a wrong way to play Animal Crossing. There isn't, because there's not a point. That sounds terrible. It's just, you play it. That's it. It's not about achieving goals. It's not about getting the perfect island. It's not about any of that. It's about playing and making it whatever the heck you want it to be. So I agree. Time traveling is not a sin. Kiwi and a few people said this, the hourly music isn't very enjoyable anymore. I preferred it in the older games. I think this might be unpopular with people who are new to New Horizons, but very popular to those of us who have played for a long time. I agree, but I'm also going to have an entire video about that coming up, and when it is up, I will put it in a card right here, but this is coming out before that, so just so you know. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about that in a future video, but I agree the music isn't as relaxing, but that's not to say it's not good. Again, video coming on that. An example of the other side of the time traveling argument, Mother of Spoon says, skipping time ruins the game. Again, I will emphasize it ruins it for you, but not for other people. Animal Crossing is what you make it, play it however you want. So what is this? Says the best villager is Tybalt and the worst is Fuchsia and time travel's a no-no. Again, I've already talked ad nauseum about how time travel is whatever you want it to be. I looked up Tybalt. I like him simply because I like the name Tybalt because it makes me think of Shakespeare. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Tybalt, so that's definitely an unpopular opinion. And as far as Fuchsia's concerned, I almost agree. Like, I don't think she's the worst. I think there's way worse than her, but she's not that cute. I don't know. I like the ear piercings that she has, but other than that, I don't think she's that cute. There's much cuter deer, like Fauna, in my opinion. Jumping over to Discord, Nick says the game is lacking in content, and he kind of compares it to things like Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon. Here's why I think this is an unpopular opinion. To say it's lacking in content, I think, is to say you don't understand the point of the game, which is there is no point, there is no goal, there is no achievement, which sounds horrible, right? It's just, you're just supposed to play it. It's just customization. That is it. Because you could argue the same thing with The Sims. There's no point to it. There's no necessarily like achievements that you need to unlock or whatever, because you can use cheats for the entire game. The people who created The Sims encourage you to use cheats. Also, I don't think it's right to compare to Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon because they are nothing like Animal Crossing. First of all, I find the graphics of Stardew Valley super ugly. I cannot stand pixelated graphics, so ugly. But also, they are not the same thing. The games are just not anywhere near similar. Most people think that just because Animal Crossing is kind of a life simulation game that you can put it in the same category as other life simulation games, but you can't. Because the entire point, whatever, of Animal Crossing is just to customize and do whatever you want. Whereas something like Stardew Valley does have specific achievements and goals. Animal Crossing does not, so therefore they can't even be compared. But that's just me. A lot of people who are huge Animal Crossing fans do compare them and say that they are in the same category, but I don't. So maybe that's the unpopular opinion, is that I think they shouldn't even be compared because they're not at all the same thing. So again, a lot of people are saying that are new to the franchise anyway, that there's not enough content in Animal Crossing, but longtime fans will tell you that's the point. There's not supposed to be a bunch of content. It's supposed to be you just play it, and eventually you'll be done with it. Unless you're like that 80-year-old grandma who plays it every single day, because why not? It does get monotonous, depending on who you are, and that's why Animal Crossing isn't for everyone. Oh, another one Gus says is the balloon items are disappointing sometimes, especially the resource ones. I can understand why this is an unpopular opinion if you're new to the franchise, but anyone who's played New Leaf will disagree. Here's the thing, in New Leaf on the 3DS, you know what balloon items gave you? Balloon items. Literally, that was it. You got balloon furniture, balloon wallpaper, balloon rug, balloon table, balloon chair. It was only balloon, and it stunk. Everyone got so mad about it. So I personally am very grateful that we get other things that I'm gonna actually end up using, especially when I hit down a balloon and get 50,000 bells. That's nice. So again, probably unpopular for longtime Animal Crossing fans, but pretty popular for those who are new to the franchise. Alright, so there was a list of y'all's unpopular opinions. It was really interesting because you had a mix of people who had never played Animal Crossing and people who had played a lot of old Animal Crossing games, so it was very different levels of opinions, and it's kind of hard to decide what is an unpopular opinion because it depends on which crowd you're talking to, and Animal Crossing is so just whatever you make it, you know? If you enjoyed this video and would like to see other unpopular opinions video, I have a whole playlist for them about a myriad of topics, like even Disney and Harry Potter, the MCU. Sometimes I focus on specific subjects, like why I think Thor Ragnarok was the worst Thor movie, but you know. Anyway, if you want, maybe consider joining the geekdom by subscribing and following me on Instagram, where I post lots of fun pictures and sometimes do random Q&A sessions on my Instagram story. But anyway, wrapping up this very unscripted video. I have so much trouble with unscripted videos. I don't know what it is. It's probably the performance actress in me. I don't know, probably. But anyway, that is all for today. Thank you for watching.